J. Cole didn't start his career calling himself the best rapper alive, but somewhere between Forest Hills Drive and Might Delete Later, he really started rapping like he believed it. Fall Off, that's supposed to be his final statement, a double album about legacy, wisdom, and letting go. But if you really listen, you'll hear a split personality running through the whole project and his final decision on claiming the GOAT status. The timing wasn't coincidental. Cole got loudest during Kendrick's quietest years. But what happens when the king comes back from his cave? Today, I'm tracking Cole's evolution from hungry underdog to self-proclaimed champion, and how one like that verse reminded everyone why claiming the throne and keeping it are two very different things. There's a moment in every great rapper's career when they stop trying to prove they belong and start acting like they own the place. For some, it happens early. For others, it takes years of building evidence. J. Cole took the long route. He spent a decade earning respect, building credibility, and perfecting his craft before he ever seriously claimed to be the best rapper alive. But here's what's fascinating about Cole's journey to the top. His loudest "I'm the best" period coincided perfectly with Kendrick Lamar's quietest years. When the cultural consensus pick for greatest rapper went silent, Cole got loud. The question we're answering today isn't whether Cole is actually the best. It's how a humble storyteller from North Carolina convinced himself and half of hip-hop that he was the king, and what happened when the real king decided to remind everyone who actually wore the crown. This is the story of confidence, timing, and what happens when you claim a throne that someone else never gave up. Let's start where Cole started. Hungry, talented, but definitely not talking like he was the best anything. Cole World, the sideline story in 2011 was about earning a seat at the table, not claiming to own it. Cole was the introspective storyteller dealing with label pressure, trying to balance radio singles with real hip-hop. His energy was, "I can hang with y'all," not, "I'm better than y'all." Born Sinner in 2013 doubled down on that narrative. This was Cole wrestling with guilt, faith, and temptation. The pen was sharp, the stories were vivid, but the posture was still proving himself worthy of elite conversation. Meanwhile, Kendrick was already being called the future of hip-hop off Good Kid, Mad City. While Cole was asking for respect, Kendrick was getting instant classic talk. The contrast was clear. Cole was the hungry technician working his way up. Kendrick was the generational talent everyone saw coming from day one. Back then, the question wasn't, is Cole the best? It was, can he even hang with Kendrick and Drake long term? Then came 2014, and something shifted in Cole's confidence. 2014 Forest Hills Drive was the first project where Cole's pen, his sales, and his swagger all aligned perfectly. No features, deeply personal concept, his childhood home as the backdrop. This was Cole showing he could carry an entire classic album by himself. On January 28th, Cole starts talking different, calling himself Carolina's finest, saying he already proved himself, throwing subliminals at other top-tier rappers. This is the first time we hear real GOAT energy from Cole. But notice the language. It's still, y'all will realize I'm one of them, not I'm clearly better than everyone. Cole is flirting with elite status, not claiming total dominance. The timing matters here too. While Cole is building this confidence, Kendrick is deep in his To Pimp a Butterfly era. Heavy jazz, complex politics, critical acclaim, but maybe less street credibility with some fans. Forest Hills Drive goes platinum with no features. Cole's fan base starts saying he's on Kendrick's tier, maybe even more relatable and consistent. This is where Cole stops just trying to belong and starts hinting that he might be special. For Your Eyes Only and KOD represent Cole positioning himself as the responsible adult in hip-hop. For Your Eyes Only was pure storytelling mastery, a concept album from another man's perspective dealing with fatherhood, death, and systemic racism. The flex wasn't in bars about being the best, it was in attempting something this difficult and nailing it. KOD took it further. Cole became the wise veteran warning younger artists about addiction, clout chasing, and losing themselves to trends. 1985 was basically Cole saying, I'm more serious, more mature, more lasting than these new dudes. Still not literally calling himself the best rapper alive, but the subtext was clear. I'm building something more permanent than what y'all are doing. Meanwhile, Kendrick has Damn and wins a Pulitzer Prize. On paper, Dot has the stronger resume, but Cole is carving out the lane of most stable, relatable, grown man voice in hip-hop. The positioning is brilliant. While Kendrick is winning awards, Cole is building the argument that he's the rapper who'll still be here when the trends change and the politics fade. Then came the era where Cole finally said the quiet part out loud. 2019 to 2021 might be Cole's most aggressive period ever. His feature run was legendary, constantly out-rapping hosts on their own songs, dropping bars that made headlines, building a reputation as the verse assassin. The off-season in 2021 was pure competitive energy, punchlines, flows, bar density, the kind of mixtape aggressive rapping that reminded everyone Cole could get technical when he wanted to. And somewhere in this period, Cole started literally saying best rapper alive and telling people to ask the legends who died if they disagreed. Here's what's crucial about the timing. Kendrick was quiet. From 2018 to 2022, Kendrick barely dropped music. No major albums, limited features, mostly silence while the culture moved forward without him. With a guy most people considered the best rapper alive off the board, it became easier for fans, critics, and Cole himself to make the best alive argument seriously. Cole wasn't just claiming the throne. He was claiming it during a period when the throne appeared to be empty. Then, Kendrick came back with Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, and it created an interesting dynamic. Kendrick reminded everyone he was still the most ambitious album artist alive. Double album, therapy sessions, generational trauma, spiritual healing, complex writing that professors could analyze. But he wasn't in destroy everyone mode. This was wounded prophet Kendrick, not competitive demon Kendrick. Meanwhile, Cole remained hyperactive, still dropping features, still sounding competitive, setting up Might Delete Later and teasing the fall off. The culture developed a weird split in how it saw them. Kendrick was a spiritual goat working through personal growth. Cole was the active boogeyman of pure rapping skill. Fan debate started sounding like Kendrick's the more important artist, but Cole might be the better rapper right now. Kendrick stepped into therapy, Cole stayed in the gym. One was healing, the other was sharpening the sword. That's the dynamic that set up everything in 2024. Then 2024 happened, and Cole's best alive narrative collided with reality. It started with the Big Three line on First Person Shooter, Cole positioning himself alongside Drake and Kendrick as hip-hop's trinity. Kendrick's response on Like That was surgical. Fuck the Big Three, it's just Big Me. Not just rejecting the grouping, but specifically targeting Cole's attempt to place himself in that conversation. What followed was Kendrick's most dominant year ever. Like That, Euphoria, 616 in LA, Meet the Grams, Not Like Us, plus GNX. A run that reminded everyone why he's considered the final boss. Cole's response? 7-minute drill on Might Delete Later, a solid diss that questioned Kendrick's catalog and recent output. For about 72 hours, it looked like we might get the battle fans had wanted for years. Then, Cole pulled the track and publicly apologized at Dreamville Fest. Here's what's wild about this moment. Might Delete Later might be Cole's best pure rapping project ever. Songs like Pie, Sticks and Stones, and Pricey showcase technical skill and aggressive energy that supports his best alive claims. But his decision to back down from Kendrick created a perception problem. On Wax, he sounded like the best alive. In actual competition, he acted like he knew who he really was. In later freestyles, Cole admits the apology knocked him out of people's top 3 and says he thrives when counted out. There's self-awareness there, but also lingering frustration. J. Cole's The Fall Off is full of grown man wisdom, but it's also full of contradictions. On one hand, he's finally admitting that hip-hop is bigger than any one artist, that the culture moves, changes, and belongs to the streets, not the throne. On the other hand, he's still rapping like he's the only king left, still calling himself the best alive, and still talking about how lonely it is at the top. So which is it, Cole? Are you sharing the crown, or are you still trying to own it? And let's be real, all this talk about sharing the hip-hop crown sounds nice, but nowhere in history has a king ever shared his queen. In every era, the throne is about power, legacy, and respect. When someone tries to touch what's yours, it's not just disrespect, it's a declaration of war. Let's break down the real tension at the heart of this album and why the idea of a shared crown just doesn't fit the culture. You can hear the split personality all over the fall off. Take I Love Her Again, one of the most revealing tracks on disc 39. Here, Cole personifies hip-hop as a woman who's for the streets. She's been with a lot of rappers, she's moved through different eras, and she'll never fully belong to him or any one artist. It's a clever metaphor, but let's be honest, it's not even that original. If you actually listen to Kendrick's Gloria on GNX, you'll hear a similar concept. Kendrick did it first, and arguably did it better. In fact, if you pay close attention, a lot of disc 39 feels like a bootleg, watered-down version of GNX, but that's another video. And it's not just that song. Across disc 39, Cole sounds older, more at peace, more willing to see hip-hop as something bigger than his own legacy. He's reflecting on the cost of chasing greatness, and he's starting to let go of the idea that he can ever truly own the game. But then, just a few tracks later, Cole flips the script. He's back to calling himself the best alive, framing himself as the last real one left, and talking about how isolating it is at the top. Disc 2, track 2 is pure I'm the king energy. He's not just in the conversation, he's above it. And then there's the bonus track, Lonely at the Top. The whole premise is that he's reached a level very few rappers ever touch, and the view from that peak is isolating, not communal. It's not we made it, it's I made it, and now there's nobody up here with me. Every review of The Fall Off calls it a near final statement, a project where Cole both reflects on the cost of success and quietly reinforces that he's on hip-hop's highest tier. Act 2, the king's crown is never shared. But here's where I have to push back. Cole's hip-hop is for the streets, not the throne metaphor is poetic, but it doesn't fit the reality of power, especially in hip-hop. Let's break it down. In ancient and medieval times, the king's queen wasn't just a romantic partner. She was the symbol of his power, his bloodline, and his right to rule. If another man even tried to get close, it wasn't about love or lust. It was about challenging the king's authority. 1. It threatened the bloodline. Kings cared about lineage, not just love. If someone else slept with the queen, it cast doubt on the heir. That alone could destabilize an entire kingdom. The future of the throne was at stake. 2. It implied a challenge to the throne. Touching the king's queen was the ultimate I'm equal to you or I can replace you. In monarchies, that was a straight-up declaration of war. No king ever said, let's just share her. That's not how power works. 3. Punishments were extreme. The consequences? Execution, exile, imprisonment, or losing everything. The queen herself could face severe consequences too. The message was clear. The throne is not for sharing. 4. Sometimes it sparked full-blown political crises. Even rumors of the queen being unfaithful could cause civil wars, succession disputes, broken alliances, and dynasties collapsing. Once the legitimacy of the crown is questioned, everything falls apart. Act 3. Why this matters in hip-hop. So what does this have to do with rap? Everything. In hip-hop, the crown is about legacy, dominance, and respect. When a rapper claims the throne, it's not just for show, it's a statement of supremacy. When someone else tries to share that crown, or even hints at being on the same level, it's not a friendly gesture, it's a challenge. It's the same as stepping to the king's queen in the old days. You're saying, I'm coming for your spot. That's why the idea of sharing the crown doesn't fit the culture. Hip-hop is built on competition, on proving you're the best, on defending your legacy. Because here's what Cole actually proved over his career. One of the most consistent discographies of his era, elite storytelling, concept writing, and feature-killing ability, multiple periods where best rapper alive wasn't a crazy statement, especially while Kendrick was quiet. But Kendrick's 2024 run reinforced something crucial. There's a difference between being one of the best rappers alive and being the best rapper alive. Cole's evolution from hungry underdog to self-proclaimed champion is genuinely impressive. He built his confidence methodically, earned his stripes through consistent excellence, and claimed his throne during a period when it seemed available. The problem was that the throne was never actually empty. Kendrick was just sitting in it quietly. What we witnessed isn't really about Cole versus Kendrick. It's about the psychology of claiming greatness. Cole convinced himself he was the best partly because the competition went quiet. When you're the most active elite rapper for 3 years, it's easy to start thinking you're the best rapper, period. But greatness isn't just about who's working the hardest in the moment. It's about who can perform at the highest level when everything's on the line. Cole proved he could rap at an elite level consistently. Kendrick proved he could end careers and break the internet when he decided to focus. Those are both valuable skills, but only one translates to being considered the absolute best. J. Cole really did evolve from the kid begging for a spot to a man calling himself the best rapper alive. His confidence grew organically through proven excellence and smart positioning during Kendrick's quiet period. But the moment Kendrick Lamar came outside in 2024, that best alive title stopped being a slogan and turned back into a question. Cole's journey shows us that claiming greatness and proving greatness are two different challenges. He mastered the first part during Kendrick's absence. The second part? Well, that's why 7-Minute Drill got deleted and Not Like Us went #1. So was Cole ever really the best rapper alive, or did he just rap like it during the right window? Maybe the answer is both. Cole reached a level where that claim wasn't ridiculous, built the confidence to make it publicly, and backed it up with consistently elite performances. But when the final boss returned, the hierarchy reasserted itself. That doesn't diminish Cole's journey or his current skill level. It just reminds us that in hip-hop, like in boxing, there can be a lot of great fighters, but only one undisputed champion. And sometimes the champion has to remind everyone why he never actually gave up the belt. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Did Cole deserve the Best Alive title during Kendrick's quiet years, or was he just rapping in an empty room thinking he was the only one there? Because the difference between those two things might be the difference between confidence and delusion. Until next time, remember, claiming the throne is the easy part. Keeping it when someone wants to take it back, that's where legends separate from rappers who just sound legendary.